Let's watch the video of the president in the Ashanti region and look at some of the things that the president has said. And we'll come back and have a conversation about it. So please stay tuned in. Watch this.
Easy for people to say it's mismanagement. I don't accept that criticism. Yes, because the reasons why we got into where we got had very little to do with the Ghanaian economy.
Good.
The way it was being managed had everything to do with the economists call exogenous factors, things to do that came from the outside.
President Akufo Addo dismissing claims that his government has mismanaged the economy as it looks to the IMF for support, a decision he describes as a tough one.
I don't have any difficulty in admitting that it was a difficult decision for me to take, but I felt that in the interest of the country, the interest of our economy, we had to make that decision.
He was, however, hopeful of a far-reaching program that will bring relief to Ghanaians.
We're going to come to do a budget to the country in the middle of November. I'm hoping that the IMF negotiations will be over, at least substantially, so we'll have a clear idea of the elements of the agreement with the fund, which hopefully will be able to feed into the budget. Looking for a program which will give us significant relief as far as support for our balance of payments are concerned.
Despite calls for Ken Ofori-Atta to be sacked, the president says he remains firmly behind his chief finance officer.
It's the most transparent process any government has done with an IMF program.
I see.
First of all, the public engagement. Secondly, stakeholders, widespread consultations. 2015, IMF program. This man was able to organize the management of our economy in such a way that not only were we able to roll out all these programs in that first year and subsequent years, but our economy's growth was spectacular. Somebody who has been able to do that, why would I say that? How do I do that? How do I do that? What would be the basis? What is the rationale?
With ongoing speculations about government's discussions with the IMF, the president reassured Ghanaians that government's flagship programs like the free SHS policy will not be compromised.
Addressing chiefs at the Menchia Palace on Sunday, President Akufo Addo reiterated his government's commitment to end the illegal small-scale mining menace. He touted his achievement in the Ashanti region, calling the bluff of his critics.
Nearly 300 kilometers of asphaltic road, I don't count Kumasi 100 kilometers a year or 100 kilometers a year or the urban roads. 32 separate hospital projects in Ashanti in my time since I came.
On his part, the Asante Hene Otunfo Osei Tutu II encouraged the president to do all his best to realize his quest to develop the country.
People make those kind of threats. Me, they don't frighten me.
Okay.
It's, somebody votes for you, somebody supports you. It's because they want you to do things for them. So I understand that. There's no need for people to go to my say. I don't want to watch them. But of course, mayor. And about to decide this over to a man. I want some. I don't know myself. Will be a song and in Timsu baby. And they are the important thing is that we have a responsibility. I understand the responsibility, and we will deal with it.
Kwabri East is one of the largest constituencies in the Ashanti region. In the 2016 presidential election, the New Patriotic Party's candidate, Nana Akufo Addo, secured overwhelming votes of 71,112, representing 81.77%. while in 2020 the party again recorded impressive votes of 86,000, setting a national record as the constituency that gave the ruling party the highest vote. However, despite being loyal to the ruling government, the constituents say they have been taken for granted. On August 9, 2022, the chief of Mampong, Bermaster C. Ayeboafo, together with the residents, protested over poor road network in the municipality. President Akufo Addo, during an interview on a local station in Kumasi, said he is unfazed about threats by some constituents of Kwaburi East demanding better roads to vote out the New Patriotic Party in the 2024 election.
No problem, no problem.
You do it.
I'm saying, people make those kind of threats. Me, they don't frighten me.
Okay.
Somebody votes for you, somebody supports you. It's because they want you to do things for them. I understand that. There's no need for people to go to say. I don't want to answer.
The comments by the president sparked controversy and angered the residents of Kwaburi East.
The machine for machine will be so as the machine. I can't remember my no gas. So, Yantua Bana on Fahua, or Casadia, so the one country.
No, about no vote. Yet to a beam, only about what's in this year. You bet it will be more Piam at Waba, why was over to Aban Yankaman? They say, I find it, I must have a better from the electrician. They say, I'm planning it to you. If you point to me, I know the yet must say, I was with you. I heard no name. Yes, and I to go and get into a no more, no more kind, and for my. And yes, I am to a mine, any I'm paying for. Yes, in Kitty, Yena, Yenaso, say a few young Twaba, MIMP. So, Mumpu, Omeya Kwama, it's almost a year, Omeya Kwama in Yantuaba, MIMP. It's answered, do I am MPP? Am I your Kuno? So, man Twaba, my idea, Yantuaba Mubia. Yes, sir.
I don't think the president was calling anybody's bluff. He was not calling anybody's bluff. The host asked him a particular question, and the response the president gave was to what the host was saying. Indeed, if you look at the package of road constructions that is currently going on in the Kwabere areas and in the Mansu areas, I mean, before the end of this year, I know the Ministry for Roads and Highways would award a contract package, I think, of about 10 kilometers of roads within the Kwabere district and also within the Mansu. I'm not so sure exactly the kilometer, but work is definitely ongoing in these two areas. What the president stated in his response was that I don't think anybody threatening that I will not vote for him should be something that he should be worried about. No. At the end of the day, his focus is to make sure that he delivers. Once he delivers and the road infrastructure is there, and you still decide to go and vote for another party, well, that's your problem. But I don't think the president called anybody's bluff. What he did indicate in the interview was that work is ongoing in all parts of the region. There's no way we can do all roads at the same time. It's not possible. At the end of the day, looking at the national purse and looking at what we have at the moment, we can't do everything at the same time. We have to do it systematically. So if people, as per what the host was saying, will not be patient and wait for their time, then, well, that's fine. But he did not call anybody's bluff.
All right. So you had the director of communications of the presidency, that's Eugene Ayin, explaining what the president said about persons who are threatening him, that if they don't do A, B, C, D for them, they'll vote against him. And the president's admonishing that, look, yes, I know I'm alive to my responsibilities, but if you still don't want to vote for me, that's your cup of tea. That's fine. You want to vote for the NDC, it's okay. Please go ahead. So we'll come back in-house and look at this. So it's about the president's tour in the Ashanti region, some of the commentaries that the president has made, which has not gone down with some people. So you can understand why the president's director of communication had to come back and explain what the president has said. So let me start with Nanaya Jantua.
Moro, you have to start
we
with
have
me, because the first round you started with her.
Okay, so I'll come to you.
You
Okay,
have to
let me
start.
start. So
I'm at the other side.
Let me start.
Let me retract a joke I made about.
Oh, you want to retract something?
Yes,
Okay,
about a
please
joke
do.
I made
All
about
right.
the polytank and money stuff. It
Okay.
was just a joke to jab.
It was a joke.
Oh, just
Okay.
a joke.
All right. So you said it in jest. So Mr. Fred Angwenyo is dismissing this is not true. It was just meant to be a joke. Expensive as it is, because we've had some reactions, and so It's important that he said that. They're very good friends, so sometimes they tend to forget. They come on air and do things. Anyway, so let me just do this.
Agree.
We have 25 minutes to have this conversation. So I'm going to actually beg my resource persons to try and keep it as simple as short
No, 5.
as
More-
possible.
how many minutes are you
because,
giving? Because we are out time.
everybody will do 5 minutes each. But then I need to go on Zoom now because Dr. Asante has been on for a while now. Dr. Kwame Asante is Director, Center for European Studies and Senior Lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Ghana, Lagos. Let's pick his brief thoughts on what he makes of the president's commentary that he's made in the Ashanti region, and whether he finds anything wrong with that at all, and so on. Doc, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Inside Pages on Metro Television, sir.
Good morning.
Right. It's always a pleasure having you, sir. You've listened to the president. You've watched him. And let's start with the comments he makes about threats. You know, you promised to do this, you won't do that, I won't vote for you. And the president's statement that, look, you can't threaten me. I'm faced with that kind of thing. I mean, yes, I'm alive to my responsibilities. I know what I'm supposed to do. So don't come be threatening me. If you want to vote for another political party, that's fine. And also the issue about, you know, certain places where the president went and we saw people actually booing at him. We don't know the numbers in terms of whether there are many or not, but we saw some residents saying, oh, yeah, and that kind of thing. So if you can put these two together and help us build a perspective around it, I'll be very happy, sir.
Right. Thank you for the opportunity. Moro, if you look at the statement that the president made, that you can't threaten me, all right, whilst I do my job, I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
From where I sit, there's nothing wrong.
Right.
Why am I saying that? Because, you see, governance is not about threats. It's about dialogue. You discuss issues, and the issues are taken seriously, brought on board, and then they dovetail into the development agenda of the government. So the president was, for me, honest in saying that, yes, yeah, you can vote the way you want to vote. I don't have a problem. That in itself is admission, or it brings in something that we will look at very shortly. But one is that you can't threaten anybody when you have leaders who are in office and doing their work. All that you do is to put your request or demand across. They take it or leave it. And then when the opportunity comes for you to renew their mandates or throw them out, you decide the direction you want to go based on what you have received as feedback from whoever is leading you. All right. If you look at the point of honesty with regard to this statement, yes, very honest that yes, look,
we're sorry about that. We're having some challenges with the Zoom link. Doc would hopefully join us back. When he does, you continue from where he left off. He started by saying that, well, in principle, he doesn't see anything wrong with the president. Said he can't threaten me because governance is not about threat. Governance is about dialogue. Governance is also about sitting on the table and saying, this is what you promised. You haven't done that. So that's where he was coming from. So when Doc comes back on, we would continue from where he left off. But let me start with Pargriv Wachidankwa. And Pargriv, please, I'd like to beg of you that when Doc comes, we would have to go to him quickly. So
and I'll continue when he's done.
Yeah, so you have 5 minutes which to deliver on what the president said. Do you think we have misunderstood the president, or the reaction that greeted the president's statement is legitimate?
Moro, I think we have clearly misunderstood the president.
Okay.
I stated at the very beginning of this show that the manner in which we have done politics over the years,
right,
if we continue to do that, we're not going to develop, and that we must change how we do our politicking. And so it's not everything that is politics, and that's a clear point that must be stated. Last year, you'll recall that the president said that he does not care about the election, but he cares about the next generation,
right,
especially as it relates to COVID-19 and all the things that we did, which clearly means that we are thinking about the development of this country, not just because we want to win an election. Now, Moro, the consistent tying in of development to electioneering is one of the greatest threats to our democracy of this Fourth Republic. And every single person must try as much as possible to desist from it. Now, you are aware that continually and consistently, we have always bargained and argued for a national consensus as it relates to our development, and that we need a Ghana plan, especially as we prepare ourselves to celebrate 100 years. Primarily because every single political party would come and would decide to be able to do what they feel is best in light of their ideologies. And so clearly the president has been taken out of context. I agree with the learned professor that governance is about dialogue and it's not about threats. So the president went to Ashanti region, spent 4 important days in Ashanti region. But I know that negative news sells in the media. But there are a lot of positive sides to the president's tour in Ashanti region. And I'd like to begin. On Sunday, president obviously went to church and then went to Otumfuo. And then the president started an immediate inspection of the Boankra Inland Port. Now, the Boankra Inland Port is being done by the Ashanti Port Services Limited. They are raising close to about $33 million US. Now, the CEO of Ashanti Port Services, I've had conversations with him, Mr. Ezekefum, together with financial controller, Harris Itima Buaje, Chairman Buje, and all of that. You could clearly see the level of work that they have begun to do, especially as it relates to phase 1. And they are very confident, together with government and Ghana Shippers Council, that by the first quarter of 2024, we would have been getting very closer to finishing phase 1 and completing a sizable part of phase 2 and opening it up for interwork and interchanges, where goods and services will be taken to the northern part of this country, in addition to landlocked countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. You understand? So these are the things that the president did in the Ashanti region. Secondly, the president went to Konongo and then went to open up the hospital over there. Now, that hospital is the municipal hospital, and there had not been any hospital there in the Asante Achim district. Clearly, you can see the level of development that is happening within Ashanti region. Now, the president also went to cut sword on the Swami. The president also went to cut sword on the Swami interchange. The president went to commission a 1 district, 1 factory maize plantation. So a number of works that the president did. And in summary, clearly, 32 hospitals are happening now in Ashanti region. 26 of them obviously initiated by President Nana Akufo Addo. 4 out of that was initiated by President John Agyekum Kufuor. 54 factories, 1 district, 1 factory. Other persons that are not aware, 54 factories are working currently in work now. 27 of that has been completed. We talk about jobs. Now, any single time any investor invest into a project in this country, jobs are created. Boankra, as we speak now, 400 local jobs have been created within the Ejusu municipality. Laborers, carpenters, electricians are working currently. At the end of the project, the employment is going to raise close to about 2,000 workers that will be working day and night on the Boankra inland port. As we speak today, close to about 27,291 jobs have been created in Ashanti region. And then also close to about 297 infrastructural projects as it relates to free SHS. It's ongoing now as we speak in Ashanti region. So the Ashanti region tour in succinct was a very, very successful one. KJTR market, the president went to inspect the KJTR market, seeing the extreme developmental work. The president went to Konfuanoche Teaching Hospital, went to inspect the work that is going on in terms of the maternal and child maternity that is being done. The president inspected Agenda 111. And more, I'll tell you, the president went to inspect one of the Agenda 111, and it was 60% complete.
Okay.
60% complete.
I beg you, let me just do this. Doc, I'm told, is back on the line. Doc. Hello, Doc.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Yes, for joining us again. We lost you at some point. Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Let me continue from where I left
Yeah,
off.
please do. Please do,
All
sir.
right.
Yes.
I was saying that if you look at the statement, 1, it tells you that governance is about dialogue, it's not about threats. Make your case, it is attended to or not, and you decide when the least opportunity comes your way. All right. The other issue is that the honesty thing I'm talking about, that if you look at the president's statement, he was more honest with the fact that, yes, I'll do it. But if you want to vote against me or vote for another party, it's fine. That ties in with what John Mahama said, that I'm not going to pay the nurses. And people, receive it differently. That, hey, he was not sensitive and all that. But now the reality is, it's the same thing as John said, similar to that. all right, that in politics is always about honesty, honest leadership. That this situation, I'm going to confront it head on. I'm going to deal with it, and that this I will not attend to and all that. But if you look at the statement the president said, for me as a student of what political communication and election, one thing also comes to the fore, that voters are now free from some of the political actors who say that, look, vote for this party because of tradition, because of what, the very things we give you, and so forth and so on. Now, the president is telling you that, look, anytime you get opportunity to vote, you are free. You vote based on your conscience. For me, it gladdens my heart as a student of politics that now voters, when they are going to vote, they are going to consider the issues that are germane to their lives and, vote based on that and not pander to propaganda issue of what, inducement and all that. For me, it broadens the frontiers of democracy, and I'm good to go with that statement. If you also look at it, another perspective that it brings to the fore, the issue that the problem of what political communication. Those who see it as what not fair statement to the people and all that, they are coming at the back of political communication that yes, Mr. President, yes, you have the right to make your statement clear, but look, this is your stronghold. We have voted for you, and that we expect something more. So it's debatable. But you see, from political communication, from the negative perspective, then you are saying that, look, what you are prepared for, the cost of that statement. And the cost is that now people believe that you are insensitive in quotes, and that they are going to pay you the least opportunity when they get during what campaign. That for me is something that the party will want to look at and then going forward address and shape some of the statements of the president. Because in politics, there are always two sides. Those who look at it from positive perspective and then from negative perspective. So you want to guide the situation that you don't fall into the hands of those who are looking forward to getting information and building messages against you during what campaign. One thing I also can glean from this is that the issue of what tolerance. That yes, much as the president was frank and brutal with a statement and other, which we need in politics, sometimes you need to be measured and tempered with regard to some of the things, even though that's a stark reality, because it comes to the issue of what tolerance, that in politics, you need to develop the highest level of tolerance. You must have thick skin to accommodate some of the things that are not pleasant, some of the things that, excuse my statement, is illogical. But for the sake of what? Leadership, for the sake of what? Continuity of what your project, and that you want to move forward without any disruption of your program, then you want to look at it carefully. We have heard from the president some of the statements that during his administration he's made that did not go down well with people, i.e. is what we are talking about, the issue of the statement he made in Volta region some time ago, and then all die be die. These are all, if you want to look at it from political communication perspective, there are those who believe that it's negative will stand on that and make all statement about this. But I believe that going forward, the president would not be disturbed by the things that he is doing. He goes ahead with his program, but be mindful of the fact that people have also given him their mandate and they expect more. That brings me to the problem of what wild promises that during campaign, you realize that political parties make all manner of promises, and later when people hold them to account, it becomes a problem for them. It is a lesson for the party that going forward, you make promises that you know you can deliver within the shortest possible time or within your tenure, and that you don't make promises that when things become so difficult, it becomes something impossible or extremely difficult for you to handle. That must also be factored in the conversation when we look at it. Time will not permit us to do a lot, but let me, oh my goodness.
Okay, so Doc, I want to believe that you've landed on that particular issue about the political communication bit relative to what the president said. Now,
yes.
Okay. Now, I want us to briefly, in just a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, opinions are sharply divided about the booing that we saw and in some parts of Eastern region and also in the Ashanti region. Government communicators say, the government communicators say there's nothing wrong with that because these things sometimes happens. It's happened before. It's happened to. There's nothing wrong with that. Some say, well, we need to watch it because when our strongholds, even if it's just two people who are saying, there's a problem with that. Where do you stand on this?
I stand in the middle. In other words, I stand on the side of political science. Why am I saying that? If you look at booing, people are saying that it is un-Ghanaian, it's not part of our culture. I disagree vehemently. Why am I saying that? It is part and parcel of our way of life. We have seen in our society, it's part of our standards, that anytime somebody does something very good, we praise him, we cheer him, all right? When you go the contrary, you do something below the standard expected of society, people boo you, they hoot at you and all that. And it starts from the family up to what? The school, up to public places, up to workplaces. And this is what political scientists and sociologists call what? Socialization. We socialize our children by inculcating values in them, and we pass it on from generation to generation. If you see our home, come to families, all right? When children do things that are untoward, all right, we boo at them, we hoot at them. It is a typical training in every Ghanaian home. Nobody can be oblivious of that fact. And when you get to school, the school, all right, also has this aspect of part of their programs. I was a student at Akropong Primary School. When people are mentioning when their exam time, they are calling results, those who have performed well, they cheer them, all right? Those who perform poorly, they hoot at them. So it becomes part and parcel of the socialization process in schools. Go to the peers, peer groups. Our peers, they hoot at us, they boo us, they cheer us. It's all part. Go to public places, such as what? Churches and all that. If you do something wrong, you are booed, you are just, criticized and all that. So when you tie this thing to political culture, as in political science, political culture is nothing but the way of how people look at issues, all right, coming from a certain political angle or political culture, all right, when you bring certain views to bear on a political situation and your reaction to it, it defines what a political culture. Now people have carried this, practices into politics, and that's what you see. The least provocation or the least situation, then you see them coming at that person in various forms. Either it's insult, that's attack, or booing and all that. But if you want to, stay in the realms of political science, or that we are saying that all these things are to be expected because we have not, as a society, dealt with these issues head on. Socialization has broken down. We've seen in Parliament where sometimes when presidents go there, they are heckled, they are booed, they are shouted at, and all that. But we must also, as political actors, not always be looking at the issue that, look, we are not tolerant of, dissenting views and whatnot. We must also develop the thick skin to accommodate some of these things. And that makes us what? Fully fledged political actors and all that. So all that I'm saying is that we need to look at our socialization process as we build Ghanaian society, and taking into consideration that one of the pillars of democracy is the issue of tolerance, that you tolerate dissenting views, concerns, and all that, however painful it may be. But that also, my question is that if the president was cheered, the president was praised, would he be angry? Would the party be angry? And then when we are able to balance this thing, we're able to project something meaningful for our society, for the future, and then the yet unborn society.
Thank you so very much, Doc. It's always enlightening and it's always a pleasure talking to you, sir. I appreciate your time. Dr. Kwame Asante is with the Political Science Department, University of Ghana, Legon. He's a senior lecturer there. So let me come back in-house. Well, oh la la. We have just 7 minutes to wrap up on the show. Parker will just use a minute to please.
No, I can't do that.
Oh, why?
I've done
No, it's not done your 5 minutes. So it's just okay. So just 7 minutes.
I've done my 5 minutes.
So you've done your 5 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. That's
for
true.
10
That's true. You've done a
minutes.
5 minutes. So please, Nadia, let me come to you. Sorry about that. Please go ahead.
Let them do 2-2 so that we can bring conclusion to what the president is doing.
Why should you do 2-2?
No, it's okay. Nadia, please go ahead.
5?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Moro, I can't even talk. I mean, what is this? You see, the point is that the doctor has summed up everything. He says that booing, there's nothing wrong with booing. When you don't do well, you are booed at.
That's what he said.
So then it means that the president hasn't done well.
Right.
Because from his definition, even at home, in school, in primary school, when you don't do, it's our culture. So the people were exhibiting the culture to tell the president that he hasn't done well and that we are in dire straits. Number two, nobody threatened the president. It is not a threat because it is not on his life. If I say that I'll vote for another party because ABCD has not been done, it's not a threat to me. It's a threat to my governance. Or it is a feedback. It's not even a threat, it's a feedback to tell you that you came to give us promises. The dog said wild promises. You came to give us promise, you do our roads. This is our stronghold. Vote for us. I heard somebody saying that they voted for the young woman who is there. That is my place. I come from Amponting.
Oh, you come from Amponting?
Yes.
Okay.
You
You're very familiar with that.
Yes.
With that
I mean, that is my area.
Okay.
So the girl got so much votes, so many votes. Do you get me? As MP, the president too. I mean, it's a place for MPP.
Yes.
And so they are just sending you feedback.
Right.
So nobody should see it as a threat. Feedback to the failed promises that you gave us. It is feedback. So me, when it is defined as threat, and besides, the president is not on his own. If you say that the president has his plan, the president has his, he is not on his
He's
own.
serving the pleasure of the people, and the people can decide
Yes,
not
we
to.
can and you see, this is not the first time that Ghanaians have said that we will not vote for you because of ABC.
That's true.
It happened in Kwame Nkrumah's time.
Right.
Every government has faced it. No water, no vote. No electricity, no vote.
Right.
It's all part of it. What is different now? And for me, it is not a threat. Okay. Nobody is threatening him. They are giving him feedback that he should look at.
Right.
Because these are the promises that he gave.
True.
And you see, when you become a president or a leader, you are a servant. You are there at the behest of the people. You are there at the behest of the people. You do what the people want you to do.
Right.
That is why we should be measured in the things that we say. MPP said so much in 2016 to get power. And this is where we are today because people are measuring them by the promises they made.
Right.
Do you understand me?
True.
They are measuring them by the promises. They are measuring the president by the promises that he made, the things that he said. Yet and you see, I am even surprised. So would the president have spoken like this if it was in 2020?
Well, definitely not.
He's going. If I was an MPP person, I'll be very worried. Because this smack a level of I don't care, selfishness. It does not matter. I have finished my term. I'm going. I can say whatever I want to say. He wouldn't have said this in 2016. He was criticized somewhat in some areas of his life in 2016. 2020, he wouldn't have said it. Now he's going, he has said it.
So you're saying the president misspoke?
He did. On that score, he did.
Okay.
He did.
It's like when
you see, in Chi, we say something like, "Five saw me so free hoko, munja masem."
Right.
Gigi di gone. Get away with it.
It's like when did the president misspeak?
Well, I disagree with Dr. Asante,
Okay.
from University of Ghana, Lagos, when he says that the comments the president made were honest comments.
Okay.
That can never be honesty. It is
No,
important
but that's how the president feels, honestly.
Can't feel like that.
You can't.
I think that Nana just asked a question. Assuming Nanado had entered a studio before 2018 elections or 2016 elections, and the journalist has put a question like that before him, would they have said that? He knows he has nothing to lose as of now. He has finished his work. He's going. So he can say whatever he wants to say.
care.
You see, the president should remember one thing. He's not doing Ghanaians a favor by bringing about development. Nobody is asking the president to use his salary to come and construct road or fix schools or hospitals. The resources belong to the people of Ghana. And we have given it to you to manage
He's in custody.
for our collective benefit. And so if at any point in time we feel that you are not delivering on that mandate, that you are not using our resources judiciously, we have every responsibility and every right to point that out to you. And the least we would expect from you is to talk down on us. Is to tell us, you don't care. No, as for this threat, it is not your problem. Nobody can threaten you. Presidents don't talk like that, especially in time that we are. And as though that was not enough, when he met a gathering, what did he say? What is the meaning of that?
When he delivers, he'll put you to shame, won't he?
Who is he putting to shame?
Because you say he can't deliver.
This is a man.
He says he will deliver
This
to
is a
your,
man
to your
who
embarrassment.
came and said, I can help develop this country. But from all indication, from all the benchmark, the nation is moving in the reverse gear.
But he has 2 more years.
My brother, I grow best way if you're not power.
Eduro beje wa atrema.
I grow best way if you're not power. Where we are now, there is no indication this government can do anything. I said that earlier. The only thing that will give me any hope, any glimpse of assurance that yes, the president can do something, is when the president comes and looks at the face and says, you know what? I have taken responsibility. Things are not going well. But I'm going to do A, B, C, D to ameliorate whatever challenge we find ourselves in. By any time the president appears before us, for him, we should be clapping for him. We should be singing for him. He's doing very well. His ministers are doing very well. What is happening in Ghana is not peculiar to Ghana alone. It's a global issue. All other nations are suffering. They are quick to point to other nations. America may be suffering, but America's suffering is not Ghana's suffering. No. Nobody wakes up in America and think where to get the next food to eat. Nobody wakes up in America and rent is a major concern for him. Because nobody pays, say, 1 year, 3 years, 2 years rent advance. In America, if you want to buy a car, once you have a job to do, you can just go and get a car. If you want credit, life is, see, they have put social mitigating factors in place that makes life very, very easy. So if you come and sit in Ghana where a landlord expects that you come and pay 2 years rent advance, your electricity bill is somewhere up there, water bill is up there, petrol price is going up, food price is going up, and you come and tell us that, oh, even in UK, even in America. Are we joking? Our situation is very, very peculiar. And I am saying that we are where we are today because of our mismanagement, because of our recklessness. Don't tell us it's COVID. We had problem with the banking sector. We needed just 9 billion to solve the problem. You decide to go and spend over 20 billion to fix a 9 billion problem. How do you blame anybody? We have a private jet. You say you don't like that private jet. You go and rent a luxurious private jet, and we're paying close to $15,000 per hour. The last time, you took the plane, went and parked it somewhere in America, and pretended you were flying a commercial flight. Just when you arrive in America, you jump on board the private jet, and you were moving all over the place. What is the meaning of all those things? Our president, when he took over office, he told us that he had issued a fiat that they are not going to buy new cars, and that the cars that are in the system that they are going to use, go and check the vehicles they are using now. Today, the two registered all over the place. Go to the ministries, go to the departments, go to the presidency. So the president has lost touch with the reality. The reason I was interjecting my brothers and people will not be comfortable with it is that it is not enough for you to tell us that we have built 10,000 factories. It is not enough for you to tell us that we have gone to Reed Brown, we have given some existing companies some money to augment their work. The question is, what is the impact of these factories on the Ghanaian economy?
Okay, Fred, thank you.
If indeed we have built factories,
yes,
and you have created employment, the data should be pointing to that.
That's fine.
The data is not speaking to what you are saying.
All right, Fred.
So it's as if you are telling us something else, and the reality on the ground is completely total departure.
Let me just give Paragraph
Moro,
a minute.
you are
Just a
giving
minute.
everybody 1
No,
minute.
because he speaks for government. We have asked a lot of questions, so government spokesperson here. We'll just
So
give a minute for him to
Dr.
respond.
Asante from Legon,
So,
I
yeah,
completely disagree
that's
with
fine.
you.
I also
I think that
disagree with him.
the president
Yes.
disrespected the people of this country,
Paragraphs.
and the least I expect from the neutrals like you is to call on the president to apologize to Ghanaians.
That's fine.
Not
Please.
to come and justify
Paragraph,
it.
just, please, if you can do
I'm
this.
sure
in
you're not a
minute,
patron
if
of
there's something
Tesco.
you want to say before we wrap up on the show, because it's 10 o'clock already.
In a minute.
Okay. Oh, sorry, your mic has been off. I'm sorry.
My mic is on.
Oh, it's on. Okay, it's on. Right,
Off the
it's on.
the other side.
No, I don't think so.
I hope
Yeah, the
they
mic is on.
didn't.
Please go ahead.
My mic has never been off.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yes.
So I'll start again since my mic was not.
No,
going
it's
to
on.
the
It's on.
Ghanaian people.
That's fine.
Oh, maybe they were not listening. So the president arrived in Eastern Region yesterday. He went to Ofuasi Arabi yesterday. He inspected the construction of the Nkoko Ebrim Ofuasi Akimodan Road, inspecting Agenda 111. The number of constructions that are going close to about 60% complete. One district, one factory, inspection of the Densu ceramics. Today, the president is going to commission a beverage factory, Agenda 111, in Sawom.
Is this the response?
He's also going to commission
Tomorrow, this is why
24
you gave
unit
him 1
classroom
minute.
block.
I'm surprised.
Tomorrow.
It's like he
Saint
wants to
Martin.
utilize it this way. It's not
He's going to
He doesn't want to respond.
commission
He
the
wants to tell us what the
accommodation facility inside in Sawom, camp prison constructed by the Church of Pentecost.
That one too is one
He's
district.
also
one
going to
factory.
commission the Model STEM Senior High School. The president is going to commission the Abomosu
Mo, you give everybody 1 minute
Polyclinic
too.
and the commissioning of the
And
Abomosu
then,
Bridge.
it's unfair.
And then
Yes.
finally on Sunday,
Because you
the
are in
president
opposition.
will commission 24-unit classroom block
Okay.
at Pentecost SHS, and then commission the Resec and New Drabin South Municipal Assembly building.
Okay.
So a number of
So that's
meetings
the,
that
the president's itinerary. Okay.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you
I
very
want to
much.
thank you very much, Mr. Pagri Bashidangwa. He's a government spokesperson.
Moro,
of government
so you're not
security.
allowed to
You
say
are,
anything.
Mr. Fred,
you
Mr. Fred
allow us to
Agbenyo-
say anything.
Mr. Fred Agbenyo
Oh,
is
yeah,
the Deputy
yeah,
Director
yeah,
of
yeah.
International Relations
Yeah, be most
for the
unfair.
NDC.
Yeah, be most unfair.
Nanaya Achimpim Jantua is the General Secretary of the CPP. I really wish we could have another 1 hour, but we don't have it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.